proud of the way that the guys just put in the shit.
Hey, what's it like in Brazil right now? Is it warm? Yeah. It's always hot, huh? Yeah.
You really fuck.
This fucks more than anything that I've ever fucked before.
You getting that ass, Larry? Know what I mean? You getting that ass, Larry. That's what the fuck you do.
We are enjoying a lot about this time here in...
Why are you holding up a card to indicate a penalty? Like, there's so many different things you can do and you decide to hold up a card? That's insane to me.
Oh no, I'm stuck. Step bro, come help me.
Where is the vagina? It's a trick question because you can't see it here. You need to part the labia first.
I swear to God, he says the labia.
I listened for it this time, and I have to agree. It does sound like he says it.
The labia.
Again, that could easily be like I said, the ghost hunting stuff. We're like, oh, did you hear that? It said beware.
Could be, but
beware.
I didn't do that on purpose. I did not hear it the first time I clipped that in, but now I hear it every time.
She's just part of the labia, and all of a sudden there was like, yeah,
the labia. Yeah, it's like weird. Okay. Anyhow, lots to cover tonight, folks. Welcome to Straight Red Card. We love you. Thank you for showing up. We got everything from Timmy Howard to Pulisic dancing to the United States killing it to, I mean, there's plenty to talk about tonight. There really is.
Fumar's in the chat.
Hey, Fumar, welcome back, brother. We missed you. We missed you for 3 shows? No Fumar? I was having a Fumar, what's they call that when you stop drinking and stuff?
Sobriety? AA?
No, but you're getting the, you start getting all jittery because you haven't been drinking.
Detox.
We're retarded. That's what we are, Brad.
Detox.
All right. I know you're not allowed to say that word anymore, but oh well.
You're not saying it disparagingly.
No, I'm not.
You're purposely describing us.
What we
withdrawal.
are.
There we go.
Withdrawal. Thank you.
I was on the right path leading up to sobriety, AA, detox. Oh, I stopped right there. Apparently, I didn't keep going. But yeah, it's withdrawal.
Yeah, withdrawal's a bitch.
Yeah,
I went through withdrawal in 2001, 2, somewhere around there. It was a bitch. It sucked. I'm a heavy drinker, and then I stopped for 3 days. And on the third day, my body said, "What?" Again. My body said, "What the fuck's going on?" And I started puking. Well, now I don't drink that heavy anymore. But back in my musical days, yes, I was a heavy ass drinker, pretty heavy. Don't do that anymore. Just for the show, though, I do it for you guys. But I don't ever get as wasted as I used to. In the musical days. But we'll talk about everything from the inverted left back, fullback position to I want to talk about and give a shout out to a song that came out, I think exactly 20-something, no, it would have been 25 years ago today. A song by Guided by Voices called Smothered in Hugs. If you've never listened to that nasty ass song, it is a nasty ass ripper that you must listen to once in your life. It's called Smothered in Hugs by Guided by Voices. They were our label mates. And of course, they make money. They make a living playing music. We never did. And but it was fun playing a show or two with them where they were they outdrank us. I mean, they drank. The band went through 2 cases of beer. 2 cases of beer while they were up there. And they played a 2-hour set. We came on. We played our 40 minutes, then they played for 2 hours. It was insane. And they drank, and they had already been drinking. And we were backstage with them. They're just pounding shit down. We're like, holy shit, you guys are not going to make it. You're not going to make it.
I went with 2 friends up to a Chicago Fire game years and years and years ago. And, we're getting ready, nice 2.5-hour trip plus, depending on traffic. And we brought some booze to partake in some tailgating up there. This is a nice little 18-pack of beer. Figured that'd be enough for the 3 of us. And the other 2 started partaking on the way up. And by the time we got up to Maryville, the 18-pack was gone.
Jesus.
And I'm just like, dude, we got to stop for booze? What the hell, guys?
What were you drinking, though?
It was just Coors Light. I wasn't drinking. It was the other two. I was driving, so.
It's like 3% alcohol, right? So it's
technically 4.25, but yeah.
It's close to being near beer. I mean, it's really close to being near beer, right? You got to drink a lot of that shit. And I also wanted to say that I sold 6 records this week. What the hell? What a boost. 6 in a week? I haven't sold 6 in a week in a long time.
Well, your last final show apparently, boosted some people in interest.
I guess. But one of them is an old record reviewer. I can't remember the magazine he used to write for. Sean, I'm not going to say his last name. Anyhow, yeah, he just popped up and he bought my album. And he's like, I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a while. And by the way, all my Brando CDs are worn out. I need some new ones. Are you guys going to reissue the CDs? I don't know. I got some storage, so I might be able to get him some stuff. But the other thing is that, like, how many people listen to CDs anymore, you think? Like, I told him you can get most of it online. Like, digitally, you can find my old.
I've had this conversation with a listener. I don't remember who it was. I mean, I can see who it is. I just can't think of the name right now. But he had asked, hey, do people still read hardback books, or do they just read it digitally on their tablets? And I go, I spend all day in front of a screen. I much rather read with an actual book.
Give
me a book any day of the week. As far as like digital music versus CDs, like whether it's like you go get iTunes or whatever, Spotify and Pandora and all that shit is different. But you go to iTunes and you buy it digitally there. You have your own issues with Apple products and stuff like that, as far as how much you can actually store and stuff. I still like listening to CDs in the car. Yeah.
Well,
so,
I
don't have my Discman on my waist anymore, but.
So if you ever out there and you print a record, don't print 50-50 black and red, because I'm selling all my reds. Like, everybody wants a red record. So, I mean,
looks cool.
Print more reds. Don't print blacks. I'm running out of reds here real soon. And I mean, everybody that's bought an album wants a red album. I'd say it's like 90-10 so far. So Tony Martinez says, Brett, how do you like your turkey baked, deep fried, or smoked? I'm thinking about doing some smoked turkey legs. I heard brining. He keeps the meat moist. It will, but I'll let you answer, Brett. It's directed at you.
I mean, all 3 are fine. I haven't really smoked too much turkey. I generally bake because it's readily available with the oven. But you know what I do? I do it at 350 for some like 2 hours. Stuff the turkey with onion, garlic, celery.
Cover it with bacon.
I've pureed butter with bacon and stuffed the skin with that shit, and then put the rest of it on top of it. Season it how you like. As long as you cook. I mean, deep frying's gonna be different, but as long as you cook at a slow temperature, all these people who bitch about turkey's dry. Well, you're cooking it wrong.
Yeah, you are cooking it wrong, because I've done deep fried as well. I've done baked, obviously, but deep fried is delicious. Smoked, a slow smoked turkey. Holy crap! With like mesquite.
My brother-in-law did one last year on his Traeger, and it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah, because that mesquite gets all up in that, and so yeah, the only thing you can't do with turkey is overcook it. Just people overcook. They overcook the turkey.
You can do it. You shouldn't. That's the thing.
You should not do it. Do everything you can to put a thermometer in that turkey's ass and make sure you are not overcooking turkey. That's why Weah doesn't think turkey's good. That's why McKinney doesn't think turkey's good, unless Grandma made it, which is McKinney said, I think. Well, if Grandma's making it right, everybody else is making it wrong, and that's why you don't like turkey. Although we're having a standing rib roast once again this year. Yep. Puto for damn it. He got me again. PT69, $2. San Marino are 2 wins away from qualifying for the World Cup. Well, with the expanded field, we'll see. Maybe even Liechtenstein has a chance. We shall see. But yeah, I saw the San Marino thing. Good for them for winning and winning again. And yeah, this is crazy. San Marino, it's weird because they're in northern Italy. They're a city, essentially, that's a city-state in the middle of Italy. It's kind of weird. But, they also have a famous F1 race there. But it is what it is, and it's kind of cool to see those kind of things still exist. You would have thought they would have been gobbled up by Italy at some point, but no, they're still an independent state for the most part.
Boomer says honey baked ham has a full Thanksgiving meal too.
Yeah, can't. Okay, let's be honest here.
Turkey's good, ham's good. Chad cooks a brisket.
No, I love a brisket. I do love a brisket. I just don't like honey baked ham, like the big loaf of ham they give you, the throw in the oven. It's all like, it's just not my thing, Fumar. I mean, for others, it may be. I don't like ham like that.
I like ham a lot. I just don't do the glaze generally.
Yeah, I don't like the glaze. Like the orange honey glaze that they often put on it. Not my thing. But I do love pork. Do not get me wrong. I love ribs. I love short ribs, pork loin, pork chops, just bacon. Bacon. Oh, but just not.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with the pig.
You can't, except for honey orange glazed ham. That's where it goes wrong for me. But to each his own, honestly. All right, for the 120 of you here, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. Happy to have you here this early. We've got a lot to go over. Brett, do you have anything you want to throw out there?
Ooh, I do. That they have the reader or the readers out of context, the community notes that get added to certain our tweets from time to time.
Sure.
And some of the times are very helpful as far as explaining where people are wrong, and their tweets are great with some disinformation every now and then.
Sure.
And then sometimes, man, they just really light the tweet up. Like, just like completely make them look like idiots.
Yeah.
Stuff. So I found one that I laughed. I laughed at not only for the actual tweet itself, but how Twitter did a community response to it. So.
Bojan Tunks. We are selling our baby trebuchet. We only used it a couple of times. PM me for a quote. A trebuchet. A fucking baby trebuchet. Why would you chuck your child in the air that high? All right.
I mean, clearly, it's just a baby rocker. Put the baby in there and just bounces up and down.
I didn't get that. That looks.
Certainly lean back and release. You could do that. I agree.
This looks like a trebuchet.
No, they've added context. This is not a baby trebuchet. It's a baby catapult. Trebuchets for the counterweight.
That's true. That is true. Yep. Got to get it right if you're going to put that up there. But that is shit is funny anyhow.
I mean, you put one of the parents have to lay down on the, or I guess one person could sit down on that and then pull it back. So it could just be a one-person gig. Maybe what it is the other parent's on the other side of the room. You pull it back and you release, and the baby goes flying, and you catch the baby.
Well, that's best case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want smashing babies against walls. There's ceilings. So, yeah, not good.
Daddy, why is my face flat?
But what you are probably correct. This is an old-fashioned baby rocker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's see here. Let's see. YLK says what CONMEBOL team will miss the World Cup, Derek?
What CONMEBOL team? Boy, it's not going to be. I think Brazil will still squeak in. Argentina, Uruguay.
They're likely to squeak in, yeah.
But they get a ton of shit of spots now. So, aren't there only two teams that aren't going to make it?
Oh, I don't know.
I think so. It's Bolivia probably on the outs. Maybe. Let's
Chile.
Let's get the CONMEBOL table up. I believe it's Chile and Bolivia, but I do believe almost every team in CONMEBOL now qualifies because they get an extra 2 spots. I might be wrong about that, but I think it's only 2. I think as Fumar says, they sent 7. That's a lot of fucking teams. That's almost all of them. So
Peru,
3.
Chile, Venezuela.
Look at Bolivia's teetering. Yeah, I think if I had to pick 3, I'm probably going to pick Bolivia, Chile, and Peru at this point. I think Venezuela's going to find a way to squeak it. But
6.5.
Oh, okay. It's one of those things. All right. But I think whoever the 7th is that has to play some fucking oceanic minnow will probably make it.
I think they're pulled at random at that point. I don't think necessarily that the CONMEBOL team plays oceanic.
What I need to see from FIFA, and maybe it's already up there on Wikipedia, is like the outright way this is all going to work going forward. I'm sure it's been published. I haven't let it go or looked at it yet. So maybe, and I don't know who they're going to have to play for that spot. If it's an Asian team, yeah, okay, that's going to be a fight, or an African team for that 6.5 battle. If it's, Papua New Guinea, yeah, they're going to win that. And it's not going to be New Guinea. That's a joke. It'll probably be like the Fiji Islands or something like that. Some fucking island from Oceania that's going to make the World Cup, or that's going to be their chance. But I think there are 2 Oceania teams now that automatically make it, right? I don't know. We'll have to check that.
Maybe it's 1.5 now. I don't know.
We'll see. But New Zealand's definitely making it, period. End of story. They're in every World Cup from here until the end of fucking time, which is, I'm sure, making what's-his-face, who joined us and then went to play for the LA Galaxy after it didn't work out in Turkey, think I should have just gone with fucking New Zealand because I would have been playing.
Boyd.
Is he still in LA Galaxy?
As far as I know.
Wait a minute. I haven't seen him all year.
Maybe he's not playing. Maybe he's just that bad, Derek. Was it Tyler Boyd?
Yeah, where's Tyler Boyd now? Surely I've watched a bunch of LA Galaxy games. Am I that devoid of paying attention when the games are on? I just don't remember him popping up.
Is he in Nashville now? Hold on, I just pulled it up. Yeah, he's at Nashville.
Oh, no wonder I haven't seen him on. Okay. Yeah, I haven't watched many Nashville games this season, or at all. Probably not at all. So
we've actually watched this video before on the show. So
okay.
The video, I just want to give a quick little highlight of it just to remind people. But this is those the day in the life of X, Y, and Z on TikToks, like day in the life of somebody who works at X.
I don't. Yeah, I kind of do, but I'm not a TikTok guy.
But this is the life of a Carmel high school student. Now, Carmel, for those who don't know, Carmel High School is a high school here on the north side of Indy.
Yep.
Won't go into too much detail just yet because I don't want to spoil the stupidity of it all. But here's just a quick highlight of it, I guess.
Okay.
Welcome to Carmel High School.
Join us on a tour.
This is the auditorium.
Holy crap.
This is the Commons.
Big auditorium.
This is the catwalk. This is the planetarium.
A lot of people are like, a planetarium? Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got their eateries all around there. Here's one of their gyms.
It's like a fucking college stadium.
Weight room, wrestling room, another gym. There's a track above the gym, etc. You get my point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money flowing into Carmel.
Oh, for fuck yeah. Local property taxes. You bet your ass there is.
It is the wealthiest city in the wealthiest county of Indiana.
Are they in Hamilton?
They are Hamilton, yeah.
Okay. Hamilton County is the richest county in Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah. So the only reason this came back up is, maybe if I can get, hold on one second. Get out of here. Okay. I got to reshare because I had to stop sharing to get rid of that.
So people asking why, yes, Hamilton County is the richest county, but they're also the richest city, probably. I can't think of another one that's more rich.
City itself, I mean, Indianapolis is massive, but
I mean,
per person, yeah.
Yeah, per salary. Yeah.
So Will here goes, most Europeans have no idea how poor they are versus the average Midwestern American.
That's true.
Well, And I said, the average Midwestern American, and then points to
Oh,
the wealthiest
yeah,
school
yeah,
district, the wealthiest city, the wealthiest county of Indiana, etc.
Yeah.
This is not this is not an average Midwestern
It
American.
is not. It's not. This is not average.
This is the 1% of 1%ers of Midwest.
Yes. Correct.
So stupid.
Right.
So
Now,
I think so. They did add context here as well, indicating the average household income in Carmel is 181,000, which is higher than the average American income, household income of 80,000. So
and Indiana's.
Jordan Morse's dog says, "Show schools in Gary."
Yeah, exactly. The Gary schools suck. A lot
Let's
of
let's go to the IPS schools.
Yep, the IPS schools are a lot of them pretty beat up, old. Yeah. So this is on the outskirts of Indianapolis, people. This is not in Indianapolis. It is north of Indianapolis. Then you got Fishers and Noblesville, also very rich. So there you go.
Metal detector speaks volumes.
Yeah. We even have metal detectors where I work, but I work for IPS. So there you go. And I'm not, my school's great. So we've got none of those problems. But we're not a rich school by any means.
So it's been brought to Winalda's attention recently that he is being shadow banned on X.
I don't understand this. I was hoping you could explain this to me. So why is he's canceling followers? He hasn't canceled us.
Nope.
But I don't get it, Brett. Explain this to me. Why is he canceling his followers to get unshadow banned?
I mean, there may be some kind of an algorithm as far as how many people you're following to the number of followers you have. As far as maybe you're not popping up on people's feed and popping in their search bar immediately because they don't necessarily want bots or whatever, to get through it. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't think shadow banning was still a thing since
yeah, why would Elon shadow ban Eric?
It could have. Well, I mean, it could. Again, it's probably an algorithm thing, and it could have been just old code that's still in there that he hasn't gotten rid of. I guess I don't know.
Maybe.
So, but I went on there and I see him on my feed all the time.
I do.
I can search him, and he pops up number one.
Yeah,
number one Eric for me. So I don't know.
I don't know.
Chris Gary's saying the same thing. So he's like, Eric Winalda is the first one that comes when I type in Eric.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't know if the shadow banning is a thing, but he's had enough people come to him and say, "Hey, I think you're shadow banned because I don't see your content and you don't pop up when I look for you." So
no, maybe he is. I don't know. I don't know how any of this works. I do know that when I put up a response to a political thing, I get like I said, I was getting 10,000, 20,000 views for shit I was putting up on Kyle Kalinski's page. A guy I followed, I've been, following for a long time. I just think he's lost his way and I'm trying to get him refocused. But anyhow, yeah. So I don't know how that works. I don't get it. He's shadow banned. Search his name, says Colin. I did. And
right
he popped right back.
Uno.
Yeah, he pops right up for me. So I don't know if he's shadow banned.
If he's shadow banned, he's not shadow banned for all. I don't know.
And what could he have said to get him shadow banned? I mean,
I don't think it's what you say. Again, I think it's just algorithm.
Okay. Well, I don't follow that many people, so there's that. So maybe that's why I haven't had that problem. I just follow people I like and people on this who follow our show. By the way, I'm also drinking a Leffe again tonight. It's 6.6 by percent alcohol. And it's made in Belgium. It has subtle notes of vanilla and cloves. You can taste them. And I accidentally poured vodka in it. So mine's going to be 8.8. In my beer. I'm on accident. Yes. I was like mindlessly doing stuff. And, I pushed my Canada Dry glass to the north and I pushed my beer glass to the south, poured the beer in, then totally forgot. And then poured some vodka in it. I'm an idiot.
It's fair. I mean, it's we would get a cup of PBR, and you'd throw a shot of Jameson into it on St. Patty's Day.
Oh, by the way, for the 165 of you here now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma before we get to 169. That is the key number you wanted to like before we get to. All right, Derek's going deep. I am not on purpose, on accident, but I do it for all of you.
And speaking of drinks during St. Patty's Day, another favorite of the day, which kind of surprised that it's past the cancel culture of the 2020s, are Irish car bombs. Not sure how that's still a thing, but I'm cool with it. I like them. They're great.
Is that a drink?
Yeah.
It sounds like a terrorist act. All right.
That's kind of my point right now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised it's still a thing.
I've never had one.
You were wrong.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, I suppose.
Yeah. Did you ever have a cement mixer?
Nope. I did have a band. What's the something slammer? It's part whiskey, part like caramel, or now what's the other thing? Caramel. It's not caramel. It's called something else. Scotch. Something hot. What's the caramel thinking with Scotch?
Alabama Slammers, a amaretto, a Southern Comfort, sloe gin, and orange juice.
Yeah, I like those too. But now this is another one. It's a shot, and it's got, what is that called? It's not called caramel. It's called Scotch. Something Scotch. It's like butter and caramel. It's another name for butter. Butterscotch. It's got a butterscotch schnapps, whiskey, and something else in it. And I used to do those so much. Oh my God. Back in the day. Oh, it was bad. I shouldn't have done that many. All right. So no jizz in it, Lamar. There's no jizz.
Butterscotch schnapps and whiskey, you said?
Yeah. Something slammer. Something. Thank you, Laverdad, for chiming in, and Tom with the butterscotch. I'm an idiot. I can't remember normal things right now.
Nothing's popping up with those two alcohols.
Well, I know, because when I was working and I had this thing in New York, I was in the capital of New York doing a conference, and I went to the bar. I had to explain to them how to make it. This is back in 1999 when I was a heavy drinker. All right. And believe it or not, I'm not anymore. So cheers to that as I drink my 8.8% beer. All right. Let's move on. Let's do it. What we got?
Nothing. No.
The show is over. The show's over.
I was still looking up booze.
Okay. Butterscotch slammers? No.
Nope. Nothing's there.
Yeah. I don't know.
Grandma candy? Blabberdout said. So yeah, moving on here.
All right.
Good news, Derek.
What?
We've got photo evidence
of that he's playing. Yeah.
Gio's training with the ball.
Yep. We'll see how long this lasts. I'm a little, I don't know. What the hell is that all about?
Gio training.
Oh. All right, great. You're getting a little too excited about that, but we'll see. Because last time he came back for training, he was immediately re-injured.
But it's not immediately. This is as of Monday. So we're 4 days into it, Derek.
Oh, 4 days. Yes. It's amazing.
So clearly he's over whatever it is. Knocking on wood because I don't want to jinx him now.
You know what? Fuck Prime Video for making me click on 3 watch live buttons to get the fucking football game up. Fuck you guys, you fucking morons. All right. What else we got?
I hate the fact that Prime has gone to adding advertisement.
Buttery nipple. Thank you, Terrence. It is a buttery nipple. Thank you, brother. Oh my God. Cheers to you. Bonus points. Jizz flying through all over the room. Yes, well done. 169. Speaking of jizz.
By the way, that's butterscotch schnapps and Irish cream.
Okay. That is what it was. I said 169, but now there are 175 of you. So we missed it. All right. Brett speaking shit into existence, dick. All right.
Probably referring to the Geo thing, but
is Haji Wright still out injured? I guess we'll find out this weekend, right?
Yeah, we'll find out this weekend, exactly, yeah.
Because there are so many players that get listed as injured, and then they're back for the next game for their team. And it didn't sound serious, so I think we're going to be fine. All right, what else we got?
We have a topic we haven't talked about in a while. Where's this at? There it is, right here.
Transfer news, transfer news. Who's getting mounted on transfer news? Who's getting over on transfer news? Transfer news. Everyone loves that transfer news, but me. Whatever.
Everyone loves that transfer news. Transfer news. Transfer news. Everyone. Okay, but me. All right, Leonard Maloney has decided not to extend his contract with FC Heidenheim. Why not? I mean, he's got plenty of other suitors coming forward, and his transfer in the winter is becoming increasingly likely. Maloney has received concrete offers from both Premier League and the Bundesliga. For sure, he will be moving on.
Yeah,
he's a destroyer.
Yeah, and Heidenheim, they're playing in the Bundesliga on borrowed time at this point.
Yes.
Again, it is a town of like 54,000 people. I mean, of course, there's some little suburb outlets and hamlets and whatnot. But as a whole, it's not a lot of people. They're not going to have the deepest of pockets, and he is basically making Bundesliga 2 money at a Bundesliga level.
I mean, it did kind of work for Hoffenheim, though. So could it work for Heidenheim? It's possible. If you got the money and you got the investors, it's possible.
But I mean, if Heidenheim loses a couple of key players, just a couple each season, how likely is it that they're going to be able to replace them in just as good a quality?
Probably not.
So
they will eventually go down. Yes.
So
it's a small. That's like a village, practically.
Yeah, it is absolutely a village. Their stadium is like a 13,000 seater. I mean, it'd be the smallest stadium in MLS.
So BMR says, Derek, you got to invest in Heidenheim. I just invested in me right now. We did invest in a small club in Scotland, but yes,
we're going to remain in the 5th division this year.
I know. We're not going up. But Brett and I did make a small investment in a club in Scotland, hoping they could rise, and they did. We're rising, but now they're kind of stalled out. We'll see how it goes.
Don't we have the ability to go and stream the game?
We do.
I really think, as shareholders of the team, we should reach out to management and say, hey. We're like 0.0001% of the owner here, and we would like to stream this on our show once a month, maybe.
It's an idea. Team. I don't think anybody cares. It's the Caledonian Braves, if anybody's interested. But 5th division, Scotland.
We could throw it on here one Saturday morning, and then all of us can sit down and watch a 5th division Scottish Premier team
struggle.
Hey,
they're not doing horribly. Let's be honest, though. We'll see what happens. I don't know how much more of an investment. They ask us for more. We'll think about it.
Our resident UK liver, a person who lives in the UK.
Yep.
Has heard of them.
Yeah, I mean, there was a cry out for an investment in the team. I think they were on her conception.
Actually. Are they better than the Fire? Not with Greg Berhalter at the helm. We're going to go all the way this year.
Yeah, we'll see. So we made a small investment. We'll see what comes of our money on that one. But
all right, moving on with transfer news. More transfer news.
More?
Hold on one second.
All right.
Giancarlo says
Giancarlo for $4.99. Derek $. Brett, did you all see Tim Howard's take?
Brett.
Oh, That looks like a dollar sign to me.
I know, but it's probably meant to be, is what I'm saying.
Oh, did you all see Tim Howard's take on CP dance? For me, it's stupid to assume the CP supports a racist president, which is not true at all. Which part? The racist president part, or that he supports him?
You mean this topic right here?
Yeah. I mean,
we'll talk about it. We'll get there, guys.
You know, the thing about calling him a racist president, if you really want to do that, is that it makes everybody that voted for him a racist too. That's the implication of that. And I don't think that's a fucking...
Derek, we're almost there.
I don't think it's a great thing to say, honestly. Julian Vivas 499, I want to see Paxton Aronson, Cole Campbell, and Arnie Chase in March. I would like to see Henri Chase. I don't know if we will see Cole Campbell. If we're talking about Paxton, I think that right now he's already got an Aronson. Poach does that he likes.
Old Brandon didn't play. So, despite the fact that Hershey Swartz.
Wait a minute. He played in the second game.
Did he play in the second game? Oh, he did come in, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So, instead of Tillman, for instance, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that
we can easily make room for Henri. Cole Campbell can come in. We can send Zendejas or Cal out. Right? I think so. And Paxton, I'm sure we can fit him into the midfield somehow.
Nah. No.
We can do it. We can do it.
Doubt it. Cole Campbell, not the way we're setting up right now. I'd like to see Cole continue to progress. We'll see what happens out of that.
I don't think it'll happen in March by any means.
No, I doubt it. I don't know what's going on with Henri Chase. I know that Poach had a talk with him. I know Poach has been on the phone with him. They had a conversation. He was part of the general conversation that Poach had about, hey, I'm not calling guys up and having to convince them to come play for us. If I have to convince them, that ain't happening. I'm not talking them into play. They either want to do it or they don't. And I'm not talking them into it.
Well, that's my thing right there. You know, Nathaniel Brown, Henri Chase, Show. I feel like I'm missing somebody else here.
No, but those are the big three.
Let's say those big three, though. If Poach has reached out to them and say, hey, we'd like to get you in at some point in the camp, get you introduced to the team, take a look, evaluate you. And they're like, that's cool. And then the ball's in their court at that point. We don't need to coin it, to use his phrase, we don't need to beg for it.
Right.
Extend your hand and then move on.
Right. So were we not supposed to talk about the Tim Howard quote yet?
No, not yet. I'm not there yet.
Oh, okay. My bad.
You keep jumping ahead of me, boy.
Well, you put it out. And don't call me a boy.
Well,
I'm a grown.
I'm
a grown-ass, hairy-ass man.
Somebody asked about it. King Kello asked about it. So I'm like, oh, you mean this topic? And then I pulled it back.
Oh, when you said this topic, I thought that meant we were covering it.
I see what you mean, yeah. After I said this, it did sound like it, yeah.
Yeah, you fooled me.
Almost there.
All right.
So apparently Milan has reportedly received important calls from Liverpool, Manchester United, West Ham about Christian Pulisic. Club owners also now reportedly value him up to 60 million, given his contributions to the club.
So 70 million US.
So yeah, I mean, okay.
Again, we covered this quote before because this came up already. Listen, I mean, and I think Tony Miola made a good point, former guest of the show, and said, if AC Milan are offered 70 million for Pulisic, they will part with him. And then Davies is like, well, he doesn't have to do that, Pulisic. Well, no, I mean, technically, if the contract allows him that deniability, I don't know. No one knows what his contract is. So he may not have that deniability, and he may be gone. He may be off to Liverpool or, God forbid, Manchester United. I think with Salah more than likely probably departing soon, he'd be better off at Liverpool. But the people there saying he can't play in the Prem. Did you watch him play in the Prem for a good, few months streak? That was awesome. And then in the Champions League, and then he can play, he can handle it. He's got to stay healthy. That's what I'm concerned about in the Prem. Can he still stay healthy? But other than that, I think he can play there. I'd rather him stay at AC Milan, frankly. I think.
Sure. Well,
But money talks, Brett.
Yeah, and he's playing the best soccer he's ever
played.
Club and country at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want him to necessarily leave AC Milan. Somebody had posted on below on the thread, going, stay at AC Milan and bring him back to glory. I'm like, I don't know about that. I'm fine with him not. I'm fine with him playing at AC Milan, him having success at AC Milan, maybe in the year, maybe in Champions League and stuff like that. But I'm a Juve guy first and foremost.
So Andy, with your comment here, as Liverpool and the U.S. men's national team, he isn't getting anywhere near the Liverpool's 11. I disagree with that. I think if they were going to spend $70 million on him, they're making that kind of investment in him. He's going to probably play, especially if Salah is gone off to Saudi Arabia or wherever he's going to go.
Let's his actual market value is something I think I think it's $50 million.
Yes, but
obviously AC Milan's asking for more.
Yes,
but that's also not to say that the important calls may not have necessarily been, hey, we want Pulisic. How much is going to be worth? $70 million? Cool, we'll get him. It probably was more like, hey, we got $25 million for him. Although that'd be ridiculous given his market value now, though. But
I'm pretty sure they're at least asking market value right now. Especially if you look at what he's doing right now. So
the quote unquote important calls could just be the equivalent of keeping tabs and, hey, we're expressing some interest here.
Would AC Milan take $50 million? Maybe. I don't know. And I don't think that until we really get the offers, there's no way to know. And I'm sure they're keeping tabs on him. Everybody is right now because he's one of the best players in Serie A. But it's
well in Champions League.
If I'm Pulisic, I just stay at AC Milan if I can. Yeah. If I actually have deniability and stay there at least until the World Cup, then I can make. I can make any move I want.
Finish through the 25-26 season, and then you can field calls.
Yeah, do whatever you want. As far as West Ham goes, I saw that in the comment. I'm not moving to West Ham.
I don't think West Ham's going to spend $70 million on him.
And I don't. Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't want to move into Man United until they get settled on something that looks like it's not absolutely mentally disabled. Then I go to Man United because you're not playing in Europe unless they win the second division of the European Championships, right?
Yeah. I guess from a selfish standpoint, from a U.S. men's national team standpoint, would it long-term thinking be better for? Because hold on, somebody mentioned stay there and become a legend. Here we go. Anthony says that stay and become a legend. Would it be better for future Americans to possibly be scouted by more Italian teams or even AC Milan for that matter if Pulisic stayed at AC Milan and became a quote-unquote legend? I'm not saying he would be a legend by any means or that he would stay on that long. I'm just saying, would that open up doors for other people?
Here's the problem. The problem is that AC Milan have tenuous financial situations. And if they can sell a guy for 70, 60 mil, they're going to do it. And that includes Theo Hernandez. That includes all the great players. Leao is on the market too. They are willing to sell Leao if they get the right offer. Trust me. Okay. Their financial situation is shaky. And unfortunately for a lot of the Italian clubs, that's the situation. So they would sell him. More than likely, they would probably sell him if they got the right offer. And he didn't have a clause in his contract that had a fuck you clause, which he probably has. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Nobody knows for sure. He has a fuck you clause. I'm staying. So we'll see about that. All right. For the 220 of you who are here, make sure you like and subscribe and share it with your grandma. All right. Got that out of the way.
Yeah. Oh, one last transfer news.
No shit. Pepi, should stay at PSV, become the starter. He's already kind of inching towards that already, right? Because we're seeing a sort of degradation right now of his competitor, De Jong. We're seeing a guy that's not doing what he used to do. And we're going to see more Pepe starting.
At the very minimum, PSV is getting comfortable in the situation where they can spare De Jong to rest a bit throughout the season.
Right. And I think you're going to see him start every other game or at least every third game going forward this season. And especially if De Jong keeps having issues finishing, which he is having this season. So he's blown a lot of finishes. So, yeah, you're going to see lots of Pepe, regardless is not really.
I was going to say, Derek, wow, you said that.
Not a fucking word, all right? So you're going to see a lot more Pepe. And then, I'd like to see him stay another season and be like the full-time starter. And then we'll really know, the jib of this player, right?
Yeah.
And then
hard to argue with the results right now because he's scoring goals for PSV and he's also scoring goals for U.S. men's national team.
Right, it's the cut of his jib.
Yeah,
that's the deed. And then we'll know the cut of the jib of this. This is a famous Napoleon quote about Wellington at the Battle of Waterloo. Yes, and then he seems to be moving to the left, but he's not really moving to the left. And soon we'll know the cut of the jib of this, English general or marshal or whatever he says.
So,
all right,
over the window, our game on Monday was.
Yeah.
There was a bit of controversy.
Not really. I mean, there is, but there shouldn't be.
Some people were offended. I saw a number of people posting on Lawless and Winalda's post about it, saying, I've been a big fan of Pulisic since he was 16 at Dortmund, watched every single one of his games, and now I tell him to fuck off. Cool.
I mean, no, it's not cool. Tim,
you pick up the sarcasm in that. Cool, Jarek.
Listen. This is tough because what Tim Howard did in this article is basically say Pulisic has no right to come out and do a dance, even if
of course.
Yes, to do a dance, even if that dance doesn't represent anything but a mocking of the dances that everybody's doing right now, because it's a cool thing to do, including in the NFL by numerous players, UFC. Black, white, doesn't matter. Everybody's doing it. Because it's fun or funny. Okay. Is it a political statement? We don't really know. Pulisic said it wasn't. Howard said, well, even if it's not a political statement, you're doing a dance of a racist. What? What? Is that the word we're just throwing around lightly these days?
Yeah.
It seems to me a whole fucking shitload of black men voted for Trump who don't seem to find him to be racist. And a whole fucking shitload of Hispanic people, men mostly, voted for Trump. Are they all idiots? Is that what we're saying? Because by implying that he's a racist and you supporting him, that implies that you're a racist. That's not a cool thing to do, Tim. You just don't go around implying like hundreds of thousands of people, maybe millions, are racist because they support what you deem to be a racist, which is questionable. I think, it's a talking point. There's so many things you could talk about Trump about that you could say, well, I disagree with this, or maybe there's something here that we could be talking about education and healthcare. And those aren't his priorities, but why aren't they? But no, we don't talk about policy. We just label him a fascist or a Nazi or a racist. It's just name calling is not going to work anymore. It didn't work for this election. So can we stop it? The name calling thing doesn't work. And, it's your personal opinion that Trump is a racist. I don't think Jesse Jackson thought Trump was a racist back in the 1990s. That's all I'm saying. So if the Democratic Party and people of Tim's ilk want to start competing and with ideas to win back the electorate, they're going to have to do better than that. And as a longtime Democrat, I am out there on Twitter telling people to stop saying this shit. Let's start talking. If you want to win, that's the Democratic Party. You're going to have to start talking policy. By the way, I'm an independent now, but I've been in the Democratic Party as an operative, as somebody who's been employed by the Democratic Party before. I can tell you what you're doing right now. It ain't working, and you got to stop it. You got to go start talking about policy. Sorry.
I think the way I described this in the many conversations I was having over the last couple of days on X is Pulisic's stance was, I understand that Trump made this famous. I've seen people in the NFL and UFC doing it, and it looks funny, so I did it.
Yes,
it has nothing to do with being political, but I guess the take I'll take on this, and I don't give a rat's ass if he does it or not. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, whatever. But whether he meant it to be political or not is irrelevant because people take it as a political statement. And that's the hysteria. Not hysteria, but that's the take that we're seeing on X now. Is that there's some people out there that are like, oh, this is clearly him, showing his support for Donald Trump. Who cares? But
I don't know if he was or not. I have no clue.
I don't know either.
And by the way, people think I voted for Trump. You don't know who the fuck I voted for, so don't even fucking come there with that. I'm just telling you that line of attack is not working. So stop using it. Stop using it. Let's go. If you're the Democratic Party, you want to get people to vote for you, start talking about working class people, period. That's what you need to talk about. The issues they're facing on an everyday basis, healthcare, childcare. That's what you need to talk about. But we don't I'm still saying we as if I'm still a D. That's what you need to talk about. Those issues. That's it. I don't want it.
Let's reel it back in here. Talk about soccer. But,
yes.
I will say jokingly, but kind of serious too. I made a comment about how Pulisic was busy out there bridging gaps between people of different political ideologues, because there are plenty of people on Twitter that were saying, dude, I hate Trump. I didn't vote for Trump, and I thought that was funny. So he's out there bridging the gap. He's mending fences.
I mean, listen, we got what we got. So, I just don't think that this kind of article, starting with that intro, is the right way for Howard to go at this. But if he wants to do it, he certainly can. I just disagree with the approach, and I think it's not helpful. Because if you look at the comments in that article, most people stop reading the article at the beginning because of the premise. Again, supporting Trump means you're a racist too, which I think is unfair. I don't think that's fair. But anyhow, and that's the majority, or at least more people voted for him. So you're basically calling half the country a racist. That's not a talking point to win anybody over, is the point. You want to win anybody over? You don't start by calling them all racists. We got to win people over. That's how you win people over, is you start with a fucking conversation. You don't start by calling them a name. And that's the implication. If you're supporting Trump, then you are also a racist. So that's not how conversations work.
The argument could be had simply, he could just simply have said, I think doing a dance that could have any form of political implication is just going to split the fan base. And you can say something like that without necessarily throwing out the word racist or anything like that. You can leave your personal opinion of Trump aside, or you can still say, I don't like Trump. I don't agree with his policies.
Yes.
I'm not his biggest fan. I won't vote for him.
Exactly. You could do that.
You can sit there and just simply do that. I don't know. It's just, it seems this is just as divisive.
It's divisive. And guess what? Since you're the Democrats, or I was and have been a Democrat my whole life, except for very recently, in order to win over some of those people that are now voting for Trump, you got to stop talking like that. You've got to have a conversation with them and win them back. And you can't start with, you're a racist, because that's not going to work. That conversation's over already. So it's just a dumb approach. And you've already lost half your audience already before your article is even been written. And that's what we're trying to get away with. That's what we're trying to get away with, get rid of on this show. We don't like that. Let's just have a conversation together. That's all I'm about. That's what I want to do. Anyhow, we'll move on.
Thin Blue Line for $1.99 says, thoughts on the U20 camp, players, and games?
Not been there yet. You might be.
I saw the highlights against France. I didn't get to watch any of the games.
That. Yes, I did see that. Yeah.
Obviously, Cole Campbell had his own highlight reel for that match alone. The kid has a massive fucking motor. Highlights are meant to make people look good or bad for that matter. But the highlights for the France game made us look really good.
Yeah.
Again, it's just the U20 game, of course. We'll see what happens. So.
No, it's promising. When you see something like that and you watch some of the players and what they did, you think there's promise coming about 4 years from now where we might see some more players. 3-4 years this is after the next World Cup where we're going to see more life, maybe I'm not going to say we're going to get another Pulisic, but we could get, I don't know, another Dest. We could get another exceptional midfielder. I mean, there are possibilities here. Another winger we could work with. What I'd like to see is more center backs, but that's what we really need going forward. But we'll just see how that develops, frankly.
I mean, hard to predict. I think center backs will just emerge as is. We've never been like incredibly super duper strong as far as high quality. I mean, we've had good center backs. We've had some decent center backs. We've had bad center backs too.
Sure.
So I think that trend is just going to continue until the U.S. can just manage to hone in on how to develop center backs in this country outside of just being a physical presence.
Yep.
So.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I think we started a fucking maze of conversation in the chat. Guys, just get along. It's no point. It is what it is right now. Things can get fixed going forward, but we got to be able to talk to each other first, or else it's not going to get better. So let's talk to each other. All right.
Yeah. As I've mentioned multiple times, I'm curious. At what point in time could you? Did we go from being a group of adults that could sit there and have a difference of opinion, even have a heated debate, but then immediately go out and grab a beer together?
Yep, it used to happen.
Now it's just people are picking up their balls and going home. I don't know.
I think most of the guys here can do that. Most of the guys here can do that, so that's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're starting to get into the this window. But before we jump into how we played and all that stuff, Thomas, who goes by at US Keeper on X, has a team A, B, C, and D in depth. So I wanted to pull this up and take a look. I know you sent it my way as well, but I had it lined up as well. So I just figured we'll go over that real quick. Just take a look. Let's see what he thinks and what we think accordingly.
Okay. I'm a white supremacist. All right. I love that. No, I'm not. But okay. Let me wipe that off my screen. There we go. Now I can see it. All right. A team, Turner, Dest. Yeah, if all healthy, right? Carter Vickers, Richards.
Sure, you're assuming everybody's healthy, yes.
Anthony Robinson, Adams, McKennie, Weah, Reyna, Pulisic, Balogun. Okay, let's see the B team. Schultz.
Well, my argument here already is going to be Cameron Carter Vickers.
Yeah, he should.
In no world is he even healthy going to be a part of my A squad, my starting A. So when I look at the A squad, that's who's going to be starting. Period. Right? Who's going to be starting the match? Not necessarily who's going to be in the 26 roster. Because Carter Vickers could be in the 26, but he's not going to start if everybody's healthy. Yes, I'd put McKenzie in there. Absolutely.
Yep. McKenzie's shown lately that he's got a lot of skills we didn't know he had up until the last year. Through balls, great vision for through the lane passes, ability to kick it out wide, switch fields. This is something we haven't seen from McKenzie up until this year. So
It was a pretty long hiatus of him being included in the national team. So unless you just were watching Genk every week, that you could,
Yeah, I'm flip flopping. I'm throwing McKenzie in there for
absolutely 100%.
Cameron Carter-Vickers. As far as the rest of them, I think Tessman may have made an argument, and we shall see going forward, depending on how Poach feels, that he might be a better passer than Adams and maybe adequate at defense enough and closing down lanes. So
I think he's had a good window. Prior to that, he had a bad 15 minutes and a decent second half on his last performance with us. I mean, not kind of the first window under Poach because he did play some there. I'm talking about back with Berhalter.
And are we seeing Tessman grow up fast because he's playing with one of the better teams in France? Are we seeing something there?
Going to be potentially Ligue 2, whatever 2 is in French. Ligue
Un, deux, trois. Yeah. So
and obviously obviously Lyon is going to fight that religation, but
they got time to do it, so they're going to do everything they can to stand.
The amount of financial debt that they're in is
it's
honestly
bad.
shocking. It is honestly shocking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Tessman's making an argument. I think Adams still gets into the A team based off of historically speaking.
Sure, I'd agree with you. Now, the Pepi Balogun argument. Right now, at least as Poach's mind would, if I'm Poach, I'm thinking Pepi's made an argument so far. So I don't know about that. Could be Balogun. They're totally different players, though. Absolutely, totally different players.
But here's the interesting aspect of all this is that Balogun comes back, and again, he might come back in March, and might light up during practice.
Good,
and maybe that convinces him to start him. But Pepi has the goodwill at this point.
Well,
he's going to be going into it combating Balogun for that starting 9 role, and he's got the goodwill under Poach at this point because of all the goals he's scoring.
You can look at it in two ways. Poach might be able to find a way to make Balogun extremely dangerous. Poach could also say, I like the hold-up of, potential play of Pepi, depending on how he wants to play and what formation and system he's going to run. Right now, that system's looking extremely fluid. So a Balogun might work really well for what we just watched versus Jamaica. Balogun could look really good.
It'd be a lot more fluid than what we saw with Pepi, but yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see how it works out. But
question: if you're basing it solely off of hold-up play,
well, then it's
Pepi or Sargent.
Assuming
everybody's healthy.
I mean, at hold-up play, Sargent, he's the best hold-up player we got. Now, he's just not available. So, and when he's played for us, he's not
clearly
played
at
well.
this point just not scoring for us either. So,
right.
until he proves that otherwise, you may take and I'm not bashing Pepi's hold-up play by any means by saying this, but in comparison to say Sargent's, I'm going to say the lesser of hold-up plays for a 9 that's actually scoring. So
Pepi is the most instinctive player we have around the box. You give him a sniff, he's scoring. He's just great at that. I mean, he does it for PSV all the time too. You give him a crack, he's scoring.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, for me, my money's on Pepi, but that's just because of that instinctive behavior. So
Mateo says Pepi's the better presser, important for Poach. Comparing to Balogun, I imagine at that point.
Yeah, if you're comparing to Sargent, Sargent's a really good presser too. But right now,
he plays for Norwich. I mean, that's basically his job.
Right.
It's the press.
Exactly. But right now, Pepi's doing it for club and country. Sargent's injured, not doing it
for either at this point.
For either right now.
Yeah.
And Balogun's been injured and really not doing it for his club. So, all right.
I mean, it's nitpicking when we say Balogun or Pepi, and when it comes to A and B, that point it's more of a personal choice, and you can make. We just made an argument for either or, depending.
Right. And
again, coming up against Panama in March.
Yeah.
Are we going to play like we did against Jamaica, or are we going to sit back a little more conservative?
Hell no. I think we're doing the same thing. I think Poch has made up his mind about how we're going to play. And it's going to be this freedom flowing, position switching and swapping, Dutch, old school ball.
I mean, and I know obviously the Captain America moniker has been thrusted upon for Pulisic for obvious reasons. But I mean, after this last match, I would be more willing to give Captain America to Jedi, because he literally played every single position outside of goalkeeper.
He played left winger, left back, center defensive midfielder.
So-and-so passes to Pepi, and Pepi passes to Jedi, and then Jedi passes to so-and-so, back to Jedi. Well, Jedi was just on the right-hand side. Now he's on the left-hand side. Now he's back in the center back role. What's happening here?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I love it. I loved it.
That was nuts. Because you in no world, the previous live shows we've done, you were able to sit there like 2 seconds ahead of time, predict who the ball is going to go to next.
No,
I'm going to go to this person. But
yeah,
90% of the times, like, you would be trying to predict that pass, it'd have to go to Jedi at that point, because he was literally everywhere.
But in the old Greg system, you knew where he'd be every time.
Yeah.
Way out left, hugging the sideline. Boring. Everybody knows we're going to kick it around the horn, Greg. Congratulations. And the one time Greg tried, he tried it with Adams as the pinch in, inverted right back / defensive midfielder.
Back
and
in the good old day.
Horrifyingly bad. Because
that'll still be let's give him a chance. Let's give Burrow the chances his first X amount of games. And we're just like, no, that's got to change, man. That's got to change.
Yeah, that was
not
bad.
Not working.
And Adams isn't the guy you want to do that. Adams is a one-dimensional player in the sense that he is a destroyer. That's what he is. He's never going to give you a whole lot of offense or a whole lot of through balls. He can make a switch fields pass. He's pretty good at that.
And a very rare 35-yard bomb.
But he's not going to turn on the jets and just dribble by three guys like Jedi can do when he turns on the jets.
Yvonne says, I'd rather have Des play Jedi's role.
Well, you don't have to do that because you just put Dest in for Musa. Right?
That's an interesting point right there, yeah. Finally, Des can play a more natural role of playing up high as possible.
You just put Dest in for Musa, problem solved. Then you got all the Des can do everything Musa can do for the most part. And he's an offensive.
I can almost argue he'd do it better, quite frankly, at this point.
Yes, he'll do it better. He's an offensive threat. Absolutely. I mean, we'll see how he comes back from that injury. That's a tough injury. So we'll see. But Des for Musa in the same lineup, you got a killer lineup there. Absolutely.
Morton says Musa plays defense. And his point is that would Des get back and play defense? I mean, he did it all under Berhalter.
Yeah, I think he would.
He played that Musa role right there, but still got back to play 1v1 defense on the right-hand side. I don't know. I mean, I think he'd be fine there. I don't think it'd be a decrease.
Jabber says Anthony Robinson only worked as a cut inside midfielder because he was literally doing much of the defending for Testament, and Dest won't defend that well. No, so if you put Dest in for Musa, he's not going to have to do that because Scally will holding down the right center back spot. The point being that Robinson on the left worked as an inside cut because we went down the right so often. And then when the ball was out left, he did play as a left back, or he played as an inside cutter. And then you had Pulisic dropping back to left back at times, or even Weah dropping back to left back. So it was an interchangeable position of three guys back there, right? But when the ball was on the right side of the field, you had Jedi cutting inside with Testman playing a center defensive midfield spot and allowing McKennie, yes, you say, to move up the field.
He had the freedom just to go where he wanted to go, and that's what we want. We want McKennie higher up the pitch. Well, we don't necessarily need McKinney as a 10 in that sense, mind you. I love usually have like the commentators curse or whatever, where you start praising somebody and all of a sudden they have a boneheaded play. We had the exact opposite rule on Monday. We're like, dude, I haven't seen McKinney do shit for like 30 minutes, and all of a sudden he laces this 40-yard pass to Pulisic for the first goal, and it's just like, maybe I should start saying shit like that often,
And part of that was kind of in the buildup, kind of overwhelming the center of the field with guys like Jedi that left, Pulisic wide open on the left because they were man marking some of these dudes. And, they're like, oh, here comes another runner. Here comes another runner. Well, you missed the main runner. That was Pulisic because you're busy covering all the other guys. So this is Poch. I'm not taking credit away from the players here when I say this, but this was letting the guys be the guys and then having a system that was fluid, that allowed for a lot of switching and moving, and making sure, though, when those switches and movings happened, that somebody was always covering the empty space. And so, and getting other players, like in the case of Jedi, far enough up the field where, they're playing defensive midfield, they could shut down a counter before it even happened. It was brilliant. It was fun to watch.
And Way agrees basically with what your sentiment was. Way on Poach, he gives us freedom to play.
Yeah. Yes. And so that is, and people who like Greg a lot and used to suck his nutsack aren't going to like that. But frankly, go back and watch the Berhalter era. Just go watch any of it or most of it. It is a clusterfuck of constipation where our guys are not allowed to play freely. And then we got these intern coaches that did allow our team to play freely, and they looked way better than all the Berhalter era teams and setups. And, the way that those games worked out. Callahan, great, much better looking games against our biggest competitors in fucking CONCACAF, who were doomed to play for here until evermore because of the current setup by FIFA and Nations League.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yep.
Fumar says basically the same. Hudson and BJ game freedom too.
Absolutely.
Pepe's. I think I got a bookmark, but Pepe's on the book saying, "Hey, Hudson just lets us play," or BJ, whoever it was at the time. He gives us more freedom. He gives us more freedom to roll.
Pepe said that.
No, I know, but he said that about, I forgot if it was Hudson or BJ at the time.
He said it about BJ. Or was it Hudson? It could have been Hudson.
That's what I'm saying. I don't recall which one, where it fell into the line, but I think we saw that with Hudson initially, the freedom, and then BJ carried it on. Now, once Berhalter's basically guaranteed, the re-signing, I think BJ in that towards the later stages of that Gold Cup, I think he kind of reverted back to Berhalter ball.
Well, it's Gold Cup too.
Well, I mean, it didn't work out for us. So,
well, you're playing a D team.
Fair enough.
You didn't have
not next year though. Next year won't be a D team.
Right. I don't think we need to really go over the C and D on this. We can, but it's.
I mean,
Reem is not a C team player right now. He is still an A team player.
So, do you think Reem? Well, okay, then I guess you're going to say McKenzie's going to be benched for Reem, and it's going to be Reem and Richards. Or do you think McKenzie starts over Richards?
Right now, Richards needs to earn a spot back because I think McKenzie's playing that well.
Yeah, and Richards hasn't really been all that great for the U.S. men's national team. Mind you, again, that's under Berhalter, and who knows what the system would change in that front. But
the way McKenzie's been playing as the center of the three in the back, I have a lot of confidence in him right now. Now, can Richard? I think it's up to Richards right now to steal that spot back from McKenzie. I really do.
Yeah.
McKenzie's looked great. I think he was one of our best defenders, center backs. Anybody else in this group?
Malik Tillman is in the C squad. I mean, I understand why Sargent's there because obviously Ballo and Pepi are starting head. So yeah.
Ream. All right, we talked about Morris. Bucio, I thought looked decent, but that's
that D squad is so suspect.
Yeah, the D squad, not really. I mean, Maloney, you could think of as if Adams gets injured again, but yeah.
I want to see Maloney play and approach. I haven't been a big fan of Cardoso so far. We have a small sample size with Tessman. We need to see more of Tessman too.
Well, Cardoso's injured, so that's why he didn't start for the second game or even play. So this is not a perfect list. Koleosho, I mean, I don't know why we're still talking about him. Let's just wait and see, because we don't know where he's going. And by the way, Poach is talking. If you don't want to play for us, you're not playing for us. You got to want it. I.e., you got to call him back and say, you know what? I've heard about what you're saying, and I really want to play for the USA. Unless you do that, I don't know how many more phone calls Poach is making, because I don't think Poach is going to try to win these guys over. I just don't think he is. I think he'll keep in touch. Yeah. I think he'll keep in touch with him, but I think he's like, hey, you going forward.
I've expressed my interest. I've got a busy schedule of very few windows to make sure this team is ready for 2026. Go away.
Right. If you're interested, you call me next time. That's what I would have told them. You're interested? You call me, because this is my one call to tell you I think you've got the ability and skills to contribute to this team. But if you really want to play for this team, you got to let me know. Otherwise, I'm not interested in chasing you. Right.
I don't want to show that just yet. So one person in the D squad, Luna, we're talking about dual nats, and you got to express your interest and stuff like that. We have a nice video from CBS Golazzo for that they interviewed Diego Luna. I want to bring that up real quick. Did you watch this yet?
Nope.
Oh, perfecto then.
Perfecto.
Yeah, perfecto. This will be your first take on it.
Right, Diego, I want to talk about your.
He looks so skinny.
Future.
They talked about this earlier in their. I think it was Davies who brought it up. He goes, "Hey, are you? I mean, usually you have that baby face look. I mean, are you working on certain exercises, or are you doing nutritionally speaking?" He goes, "Yeah, all the above. I want to be ready for the preseason coming up."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's fit now. He's fit.
He's so skinny. Yeah.
I mean, God, compared to like the U20 games and stuff that we saw him originally.
So much baby fat.
He was just baby fat cheeks and just stockier and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now he's thinning out.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, as he's thinning out, hopefully he's building up muscle tone too.
Yes, that's what you're hoping.
You don't want to just lose a lot of weight and be a pushover. So.
Yep.
Sure, because you've said you're kind of, you're leaving every door open, whether that's continuing to play for the U.S., potentially Mexico. Where do you stand on that right now? Where would you like to see your international future go?
You think it's Mexico?
No, I just said she should say Mexico.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, Derek, where do you see his international career heading?
Right now? Neither. Right now, neither. I mean, Mexico could try to steal him by making him false promises. But
hopefully he has people in his ears telling him to, beware of false promises.
What he needs to do is sign somewhere in Europe with a decent team and a decent league and go kick some fucking ass. And then no one will question him anymore. There you go.
Lamar says, say something random like Morocco.
Morocco.
So SL brings up Efren Alvarez as an example.
Efren Alvarez was just a Twinkie. He always was a Twinkie. He was never going to be that great. I don't know I'm a fucking Galaxy fan. I watched him play a lot of games. Never that impressed. Did he have some moments? Sure. He's never going to play for Mexico. Come on, people. But you want to go join Efren Alvarez? Go ahead and do it. If I were Luna at his age, He's got plenty of time
Don't make a
to
decision.
fucking
Don't
make a fucking point. Playing for Real Salt Lake in MLS does not earn you a spot in any way, a guaranteed spot on the US. I don't care how good you play, unless you're the lead scorer in the league.
So partaking in the U20 qualifiers, does he have to file a one-time switch in order to play for Mexico?
Yes.
So, yeah, 100% at this point, if I were Diego, I would not make any rash decisions.
No, don't. Stupid.
He's got all the time in the world.
He's young. He could go over, sign for freaking whatever team in France or Germany and become an amazing player.
The bid will have to come because he signed for the U22 initiative, so he's there through like 28 or something like that. Just like Guti. Guti's there at Chicago until like 28. So, let's see what he has. Let's see what he has to say.
Well, somebody comes.
Yeah,
with
as of right
money.
now, I'm continuing to work right, like with RSL, getting this award, and continuing to play well, and I'm just continuing to work and waiting for my chance, to get that call up, and like I've been saying, to prove myself in those opportunities that I get, because that's how it is. You get that opportunity, you got to take it.
So again, not really leaning. He's not coming out publicly and saying leaning one way or the other. And he's saying basically what you were saying. He's like, hey, you need to go out there and continue to prove yourself.
Yes.
At this point, you're not going to immediately jump on to Mexico's A team and start playing consistently. You're not going to jump on to U.S. men's national team's A team can play consistently. So he's going, well, I'm gonna make sure that I'm ready for the preseason, come out at Real Salt Lake, and make sure that I have another good solid season.
Okay, that's all fine. You're saying he signed through 2008.
28.
He can go somewhere else.
Or I'm just saying it's all in Real Salt Lake's hands at this point.
Sure, but if somebody
they
came,
could bid for like, let's say $6 million, Real Salt Lake would be like, yeah, sure,
probably.
Maybe they just want the what's best for Diego at that point. And say like, hey, we get some money, you get to move on to bigger and better things.
Why do you sign till 2028? You're just trapping yourself. But
it's the extra income at that point.
Because you're never going to be able to show what you can really do until you play better competition, like on a regular basis, or you play for a top team and like you're playing for Feyenoord or something like that. It doesn't guarantee anything. No, of course it doesn't. But it gives you the opportunity to play in Europe, play in Champions League, play Ajax and play PSV. It gives you a shot to show what you're made of. You're playing for a middle of the road team in MLS.
This I kind of agree with John on this. He's got kids at this point. He wanted the guaranteed security at this point.
That's fair.
So his contract's like extended like another year or two. I mean, and he's making a couple extra $100,000 a year.
No, that's fair.
It probably deemed at that point, at his age, he probably like, you know what, this is worth it. And as you said, it's fair. And that's why I always said, like, the players who are getting tempted to come back to MLS or come to MLS because they're going to make like, $8 million a year. I said the same thing with Bradley and Josie and Dempsey. I'm like, I get it. They're getting this massive pay increase for the later stages of their career. Money talks, like you said earlier in the show. Money talks.
Well, for him personally, at this point in his life, yes, making money's good. But eventually, if he really wants to make an argument, you can't be at a middle of the road, middling MLS team unless you're one of the best players in MLS. Hands down, no doubts. People go, when you think of the best players in MLS, one of the first players that comes to mind is Diego Luna. Kind of like we were thinking about back in the old days. Who are the best players in MLS? Oh, Landon Donovan. He's one of the best players in MLS. And when I say best players in MLS, I mean like it's kind of like one of those guys that pops in your head immediately. Oh, okay. So that's where he needs to get to. I don't think that when you ask people who are the best players in MLS, I don't think Diego Luna comes to mind. I think there are a lot of foreign players in the league right now who are the best players in the league. I can't even really think of an American right now that stands out to me as one of the best players in MLS. I can't. I only think right now the players come to my mind are not American.
Sure, if you look at like the All-Star team as the prime example there. I know that a lot of times, sometimes they get picked because they're going to sell more tickets, I guess. But yeah, for the most part.
And as Johnny says, all the great Americans or good ones are with high ceilings. They're already in Europe. Tessman, a giant list of ex-MLS player Americans in Brendan. I'm not going to go through the list.
I got
tons of them.
Larry's comment though too, because Larry does say, let me go back here real quick. This kid had 8 goals, but he also actually had 9 goals, including the U.S. Open Cup, and 8 assists. So I mean, he had like 17 goal contributions for real. So like, that's not a bad season. But he's like Brad Davis at best. He's a bum compared to Andy Nahar, and I had to second guess that. Andy Nahar never had a season where he scored even 8 goals.
Yeah, I am not saying that what he is doing in MLS, because I've watched a number of RSL games this season where he had great games and he scored goals and he was great. And his ceiling seems to be rather high. I just don't think he's going to get noticed. You're going to have to be a dominant player in MLS where everybody's like, that's the best player on this team. And if we don't shut him down, he's going to kill us. Like, that's where you need to be in MLS. And if you're playing in Italy, I don't think the standard is going to be as high. You just need to be a really competitive, good player. But if you're playing in MLS, you need to be the best player in your team, or you need to be one of the best players in MLS. I think that's I'm not saying that as my opinion. I think that's how coaches are looking at it. I think that is how Poch is going to look at it. Got to be one of the best in MLS, period, to make the team. Now, did Miles Robinson make the team? Is he one of the best center backs in MLS anymore? I don't think so. He used to be one of the best center backs in MLS, but since that injury, he doesn't look like one of them to me. So that's where you're going to have to be. You're going to have to hit that standard for Poch in order for him to go, unless you're Stefan.
He's got the January window to impress.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go take a bathroom break. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I gotta pee.
Yeah.
All right,
Larry. You brought going back to Andy Nahar. I mean, you brought up Diego's goals. You didn't talk about his game at all. You just said he had 8 goals. He's a bum compared to Nahar. That's why. Only reason why I brought up goals. I don't care about how Nahar did anything for New England at the point. Nahar was a good. Nahar was he's a good wing. I'm not taking anything away from him, but it's a shame that he didn't stick it out with us. Play for the U.S. in the end, but it is what it is. Yeah. So Diego's he's gonna fight it out at Real Salt Lake for another season at least, and if he can have a similar season that he had this year. Probably improve it, because he even talks about it in this video about how there were spells throughout the season where he wasn't contributing and he wasn't having good games. He's got to improve on those. And of course, he had a stellar end to his season, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to save the video until Derek gets back because I've already watched the video. So what's the point of me watching it again? Yeah. That's what everybody's saying here. Did I miss any supers? I don't think I have. Oh. Julian wants to know what's happening with Koleosho. I mean, he's not playing for Italy's U21s apparently, and obviously he hasn't started playing for us. So it is the same situation that we've been in forever. So
and as we said earlier, Poch doesn't give a shit at this point. Mm-hmm. He's like, if you don't want to play for us, then fuck off.
Yeah.
He's been in touch with Koleosho. He's been in touch with Nathaniel Brown. Been in touch with Henri Chase. Basically, his comments after that were, That's fine, but you got to want to come play for us. I'm not sucking your dick. I'm not stroking you. I'm making no effort, basically, to stroke you to come over to this team. Either you want to play for us or you don't want to play for us, and you got to want to play for us. Fuck you if you don't. Goodbye. Not interested. You call me when you're interested. That's what I heard. You call me when you're interested. You call me. All right? Because I'm not chasing you all over fucking Europe, and I'm not watching all your fucking games all week after weekend. And I think there were, like with Nathaniel Brown, I think it was more like you're young. We're going to keep an eye on you, obviously. But for players who, maybe gave him the cold shoulder, like Koleosho, maybe, we don't know the details, but obviously someone did, or else he wouldn't have said what he did, which is, well, fuck him.
Yeah.
Somebody gave him a cold shoulder. So, we don't know who it was.
Well, I mean, the only one that's being called into other camps is right now is Koleosho. He's getting called into U21s, and he's not playing. So,
rightly so in some cases, frankly. Seems to be kind of one-dimensional to me. But, I mean, that's what I've watched so far with him and his club team.
I mean, I know he's been injured for a bit here, too, but he's not exactly lighting up the championship.
No, he's not.
So, all right.
No, I'm just continuing to work, and let's see what happens.
Have you had any conversations with Mauricio Pochettino or anybody within his staff on his team, just to give you insight on what they're looking for or what they think of your play right now?
I have not had any, conversations or phone calls with any of the U.S.
Have you heard from
staff.
Mexico at all? Like, has there been any calls from them?
I haven't heard from either. No.
Okay. There you go. That's all you really need to say here. Is that nobody's reaching out. You think Mexico, in the situation they're in right now, is going to play an RSL player? No. They're already stretching as far as they can, as deep as they can inside of, the Mexican league and players they're comfortable with, and that's probably where they're going to dip going forward. I just don't think that Mexico is ever going to be an option for him. And if it is, it'll be a fraud option. Don't do it. You, as we said earlier, you don't need to make this decision anytime soon. You're young. You got plenty of time to get there for the 2030 World Cup, right?
Yeah. Plenty of time.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter who he's better than now, actually, Fumar, in a lot of ways, because there's plenty of time. There's plenty of time for him to evolve as a player and find the right team for him.
That's not what Pumar's getting at, because you said that they're not going to pull in a real Salt Lake player, but Mexico called in Obed, who's a Seattle player.
Is Obed Vargas ever going to play in a big-time Mexican national team game? Ever. No.
They did call him up, is what I'm saying.
Doesn't matter. If you take the call up and you cap tie yourself to Mexico, you fuck yourself and you're a young kid. What a dumb fucking decision to make. What a rash decision. Build your career. Build your fucking career. Go where you need to go to continue to build it and evolve it and become an outstanding player and earn your way. Don't take a secondhand call up to another team that's desperate right now, that's probably never going to play you anyhow. Just ask Efren. Go ask Jonathan Gonzalez. Go ahead and do it.
Araujo, is he playing for Mexico still?
Exactly. Well, he has a better chance probably, but
sure. Yeah. Has he been called up recently? I don't know. I haven't really followed Mexico.
He has been called up and he has played minimally, but most of the time that's just not going to happen. I'm just telling you, you're young. If you were 26, go ahead, make that decision. 24, you're like, fuck it, I'm done waiting.
Nope. I'm not gonna play because you're right. We don't need to watch any more of this, but he does talk about how he's been included in some of the not reserve rosters. What is it? That here's your 26, and then you have like a couple players on hold.
Oh, you mean the Olympics? Yeah, and
that doesn't say because he mentions that, and we had this huge discussion on Twitter as far as how are you on this list if you haven't had any contact with U.S. Soccer? And I just thought about that just now, second before I brought it up. I'm like, oh, he must have been talking about the Olympic squad.
Yes.
So.
But sometimes, and John Brooks will attest to this because he was belatedly added to one of the 56-man named roster at the very end of it. No one contacted John Brooks. They just threw his name at the end of it just so they could get that shit off the table so no one would ask questions. Oh, he was called to this is a while back.
Yeah.
The provisional. That way, it's really odd that John Brooks didn't make the provisional. Oh, no. Whoa. We threw him on there. Hold on. Yep, there he is. See?
Right there.
Out of alphabetical order, obviously thrown on.
There's two
distinct
lists of alphabetically ordered, and then he's right there at the very bottom.
At the very bottom.
He's Brooks.
Yeah, the last thought they had, they're like, oh, we better just throw him on there just to give us cover. That's during, obviously, the Berhalter era, which was a sham. It was a sham and a lie. They never told us the truth about Brooks. And now Brooks is not doing well. He's been injured. So there's not even if he were healthy, he's playing for a 2 Bundesliga team and starting for a 2 Bundesliga team. So it doesn't matter at this point. But years prior, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it would have mattered. Now it doesn't matter. Brooks is probably done.
It's funny because a few more mentions here. Hudson said he was going to call in Brooks.
Yes.
And then they fired him.
Yep.
Well,
they let him go.
They didn't fire him. He got another gig in Saudi Arabia, apparently.
Something like that. Yeah. But
the U.S. Soccer called it a favor. Hey, bro, can you take this guy off our hands? He's doing some stuff we don't want him to do.
And then that interview with Callahan where he's like, oh, we always think about Brooks and blah, blah. And then he had to come back the next day and clarify.
Yeah.
And so they've been, playing this Brooks ruse they played throughout Berhalter's tenure and even after it when he was not there. So, yeah. And I think Callahan, when he was in control, pretty much thought that Berhalter was going to get rehired. So he was playing it safe and doing the safe things. Anyhow, yeah, okay. He got the shaft. No big deal. It's over now. There's not much we're going to do about that. But,
yeah. I figured before we
really yes.
Let's talk about this. I guess I haven't really listened to it, so I'm not sure what I'm walking into here. I know when they announced this podcast, I sat there and said, "Ooh, that's gonna be a tough listen."
Oh, before you do that, for the 262 of you here now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with Grandma, and we do appreciate because we just beat. By the way, we beat Davies and Miola tonight as far as the number of overall listeners. I think. Right. I'm not sure. We're close, but anyhow.
Guacamole United said maximum forehead podcast.
Yeah, a lot of forehead.
That's fair.
Yep.
Yeah, happens when we shave our heads.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I mean, Donovan clearly is going through the process of regrowing his hair.
I'm pulling my hat down a little. Covered some of my forehead. All right.
Yeah, no, I sat there and looked at him. I was like, when they announced it, I'm like, God, I mean, that's just going to be the cure for insomnia, right? Because Donovan, when he goes on his commentary, man, he puts me to sleep right away.
Yeah, but this has been a pretty good show.
That's what I've heard from multiple people, so I might have to sit down and listen to it. So, so I'll happily take back my disparaging comments about their podcast. They didn't hurt them too badly as far as making sure subs don't go their way, but.
Yeah, but comments like this is what I've been waiting for that we're about to listen to.
What he has to say here, yeah.
I guess last question for me, Tim, is the hype around Pochettino. Everybody I know who cares about soccer would come to me and say, "Hey, what do you think about the hiring?" And I would always say the same thing. Look, we had a big name manager come in 2011 that we were all excited about, Jurgen Klinsmann. He was a total disaster.
Bam!
Just a
bam. A fucking total disaster. So, question being, when we go back to those days, do you now think, in Brian Strauss's article before the Costa Rica snow game, as Klinsmann suspected, that Donovan was one of the leakers? I think Donovan was one of the leakers.
Yeah, although I'll say he could just still be. I don't want to use the term butthurt because this is not describing how the being left off the World Cup roster. He could just still be real pissed off.
Hold on. Rewind this back and watch Howard agree with him. Here we go.
Look, we had a big name manager come in 2011 that we were all excited about, Jurgen Klinsmann. He was a total disaster.
Yep.
Right? He was just a bad coach, and
Yup.
you know, so
Yup. He was a total fucking disaster. Howard agrees.
He's a terrible coach. He goes, yep. So clearly, Howard's not a fan of Klinsmann either. Huh?
No. And listen, we've all heard this, and we've voiced it on this show so many times in the past. The players did not like Jurgen Klinsmann. You may love Jurgen Klinsmann. The players did not. And everything we know about Jurgen Klinsmann's managing style and management and coaching, this goes back to his days at Bayern, where he was shite, and back to when he coached the German national team. And we all know that Jurgen Love was really the heart and soul of the tactics and system for that particular club. Yeah, nobody liked Jurgen. Like, the players were like fucking baffled by Donovan being left out. So here is Donovan finally clearing it up. He's not holding back any punches. Been waiting to hear this for a while. Yeah, he was a shit manager. The team didn't like him. Howard, you wouldn't expect Howard to necessarily chime in there, but he says, yep.
So I do want to talk about what the chat's going on about. Klinsmann did have success with the U.S. men's national team.
He did.
I was not a big fan of his at all because he would, from game to game, just completely revamp everything.
Yep.
And there was like no cohesive plan until he got to a competitive match, whether it was Gold Cup or it was World Cup. And then all of a sudden we reverted back to the way we played for decades.
Yep.
And he didn't really change anything there. It changed some mentality, sure. Got more people into Europe, I guess.
He tried.
Yeah. But as a whole, he had success. We absolutely went to Europe on a number of occasions and won.
Yep.
Which is a rare instance even back in those days. Rare now because, how often are we ever going to be able to play in Europe? But
right.
That's neither here nor there. But yeah, he's had success with us. I was not a big fan of him, period. But that's not to say he didn't get us out of the group of death. He didn't win in Europe.
No, you and I were hosting a show on Big Soccer at the time, and we gave him time. We were not up his asshole and saying he's the worst thing since sliced bread or whatever.
Yeah.
But when it became obvious that he didn't understand tactics at all, and he's even said that, Clinton's like, well, you set the team up and you let them go out and play. Like, okay, I get that. That's a lot of freedom. But the team we had at the time wasn't really going to be useful with that kind of freedom, and which is why you said also, once we got to the World Cup, we puckered that asshole up. We puckered that asshole up really fast, and we're like, nope, we're going to play some really, and everybody that knows about the puckering going into the World Cup, that was done by the assistant coaches he had. They're like, here's how we really need to set up. We put Kyle Beckerman in there. We're going to play really defensive. We're going to hit on the counter. And, Klinsmann just said, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We're going to do that. But as far as the tactical leader or being the mastermind like Poch is going to be going forward, or even Bob Bradley, who was way more of a mastermind, as in, I've watched the tape because Bob was a tape watcher Man, he is a freak when it came to that. That dude was up until like 4 a.m, watching tape, taking notes, thinking about how we could set up against, for instance, Spain in the Confederations Cup.
Who was that? Was on who was that was talking about that with Davies? It was with Kate and that show, whatever that show's called, Just Kicking It.
Yeah.
Somebody was on there talk. Who was it again?
Well, there are a lot of people on there. What do you mean?
I know. I was talking about Bob.
Oh, Bob. Bob
was it Donovan?
It might have been. Yeah, Bob was.
Donovan, yeah.
Bob was a tape freak. He was, he's the guy that stay up until 4 a.m. watching tape and like mapping out different ways they could play against. And then that's how he masterminded the Spanish overthrow during the Confederations Cup. And then remember when Switzerland beat Spain in the next World Cup, they asked the Spanish man, the Swiss manager, what plan did you use to beat Spain? He said, "Oh, we just watched what Bob Bradley did against Spain in the Confederations. We just copied what he did, and it worked perfectly." So, yeah, I mean, listen, Bob Bradley might not be obviously not at his best right now, but as far as overall managing tactics, that's not Jurgen Klinsmann. That's just not his thing. And as far as holding grudges against players that he thought were a part of that Strauss article, those guys were banished forever. Bocanegra being the most humiliated in that, where he showed up for a game and he announced in front of the whole team that Bocanegra was not only starting, he was no longer the captain because he suspected he was part of that article as well. And this all goes back to an older interview with Bocanegra you can find somewhere. I don't know where, because it's been 10 years. What am I going to do? I can't find it. But it's out there somewhere. It was public at some point. But yeah, he did some horrible things to players that he didn't, especially if he thought you betrayed him in some way. And he certainly thought that Landon was one of the guys that betrayed him in that Brian Strauss article, leaking shit when all the players were coming out, or there were a group of players on the team that leaked that he didn't know tactics, didn't understand the game, didn't understand the team, didn't understand the players. So, yes, I mean, could Landon be bitter about what happened? And that's why he's saying this. But Howard has no reason to be bitter. He played through the whole Klinsmann era, and he clearly was like, yep.
So as Fumar mentioned, he goes, nobody that wins in Europe with the MLS lifers is a total disaster. No, as we mentioned, he had success, but as a whole, we've vented our frustrations with him over the years.
I mean, he did great things too, Klinsmann.
Yeah.
He went one-on-one with MLS. He went and said players need to be going to Europe. He said things you weren't supposed to say. There were plenty of good things that Klinsmann did. He would have been a great technical director.
He was vocal about wanting to get MLS onto the FIFA calendar too.
Correct. And now they're thinking
now it might happen.
Now it might happen. So Klinsmann did get things right. This is not a total shit fest on Klinsmann. In fact, I like Jurgen Klinsmann as a person. I think he's a great guy. Is he a great tactical manager? No, he's not. Did he hold grudges? Absolutely, he did. And those are personal faults, but that doesn't make him an unlikable person. He still has things to share when he's on the show and on ESPN FC, and when he's on Paramount, when he had that one-on-one interview. I thought that's the most open I've ever seen Klinsmann ever in an interview, honestly. Yeah. And it made me feel good about Jurgen Klinsmann again. And although there was some bullshit around there, but still, he's a good guy, and I like him, but I don't like him as a manager. I don't think most teams do, and I don't think he'll ever last anywhere as a manager. I don't think he'll even. Most MLS teams don't even consider him qualified to coach an MLS team.
Commentating might be his forte at this point.
Yeah, I'd say so. So anyhow,
so Kevin, I had this pulled up for a while, but Kevin said that Landon is a disgruntled player when it comes to Jurgen. Yeah, and he has all the right to be pissed off at Jurgen still.
Yeah,
quite frankly. I'm not a big fan of Donovan Post playing, of his ideas and thoughts, of course. But I mean, as a whole, I think the snub of the World Cup, I think, was bad. It was a bad decision. He still has the right to be upset.
Yeah, no, I think that was a bullshit call. And the fact that his son went on Twitter and made a joke about it and laughed about it when Donovan didn't make the team, laughing at Donovan, shows that there was a family discussion and that Donovan was not a favorite of the Clinsmann family and Clinsmann in particular. Obviously, there had been dinners or some other discussions within the family itself that Landon Donovan was not a favorite. And he was actually someone that Jurgen didn't like anymore and didn't trust. And when he didn't make the team, for his son, Jonathan Klinsmann, to go on Twitter and laugh about Donovan being cut from the team. Oh, boy. Something more is going on there. King Kalo says, for 199, do you think John McKinney is mad at Weston and CP for the dance? I seriously doubt it. And I don't know.
I haven't seen John on X for a while, so I have no idea what he thinks.
And you're making assumptions about John McKinney's political views. I don't know what those are. And I don't care, frankly. Yeah.
Are we watching more of this? Is there more to talk about, or did you just want to
Nope, that was it. That's all I want. So let's get to the final piece. And I just wanted to say, and we've already talked about it already at length about what happened, but I want to kind of show what happened.
Well, give me just a few moments for someone.
Yes.
These are some quotes from Pochettino. For the first 45 minutes, we played the way we want to grow, and it was fantastic for the players. In the way that they adapt to all the concepts, and the way we try to play showed that we have players who can learn quick.
Yes, I saw that.
But this was the glaring quote, I guess, for the second half.
Yes, and
like in the second half, we didn't approach the game in the way we wanted. The goal was to win the second half.
Yep.
We didn't approach it in the same intensity and mentality. It shows we still have things we need to improve. So we're quick to learn, and that's how we want to play, but we still have room to improve.
Yep, I'd agree with that.
I mean, that's the shorthand of it, right?
Yeah, that's fine. And I think that's generally true. But it was still a fun fucking game.
It was amazing to watch.
I was told a player pool, says our good friend Adam. I was told the player pool wasn't good enough to play this sort of attacking soccer. We always seem to mess up in the final third because no one was good enough, and we should accept ugly, close games versus bad in region opponents. So, listen, we played Jamaica not long ago under Greg Berhalter.
Yeah.
And we only survived that game for the craziest own goal and then whipping him in overtime. All right,
Yeah.
So here now, we whipped them, okay, completely and utterly, those two goals notwithstanding, because those were bad goals that shouldn't have been given up. So the defense needs to look in the mirror. But, I mean, that could have been a 6-2 game. It could have been a 7-2 game because there were opportunities clearly missed at the beginning of the game. I think Weah had one of them. Can't remember the other one, but those were goal opportunities that could have gone in. So, the opportunities they had, they scored, which sucks. That's bad. So that needs to be cleaned up. But that was a fun game to watch, period, end of story.
Yeah.
And you can't just say, well, that was just Jamaica. Well, Jamaica's got a good team. And I realize they're missing some center backs.
Yeah.
But they got some good players on that team. Let's not fool ourselves. On paper, they're good. Now, are they usually crap? They're good on paper and crap on the yes, they are. They can be crap on the field. And that's just really something they're going to have to work out, Jamaica. But we tactically dominated them for a whole half. Absolutely.
We had them second guessing, the color of the sky. You know, that first half. Like, oh, I'm marking Jedi. Oh, Jedi's on the right-hand side by our corner. Am I supposed to go with him over there? You know, it was impossible for Jamaica to read. And then the second half came, and we kind of took our foot off the pedal a little bit and let them have a little bit of ground. We picked it back up, but then we made subs, and at that point, it just kind of got.
Yep.
But
for the 269 of you watching right now, giggity, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your stepsister. All right. Bobby Not Brown says $4.99. The two former players with the worst takes get together, do a podcast. Still love them. Yeah, I get it. You know, those guys are U.S. men's national team legends. So what I'm looking for when I watch that show, and you guys should be too, are the kernels of truth. That
talks of the past, not necessarily the future.
Yes. So when Donovan said that, and then Howard chimed in with a big yup, then I'm like, okay, this is more than just two guys. It's probably like 7 guys, 8 guys on the team, 12 guys. Or else they wouldn't have said that so comfortably about Jurgen Klinsmann. And I'm sure if Jurgen watches that, that's going to hurt. But I'm enjoying the show. They're not boring at all.
They have all the right in the world at this point just to be as free as they want to about Jurgen, because U.S. soccer doesn't like Jurgen.
No.
And at this point, about them coming out and saying like, Jurgen was a disaster. I mean, it's not going to hurt their opportunities within U.S. soccer. Now, you know, if they were to come out and say bad things about, say, Berhalter, maybe then you get blackballed and you know, you're on that list. You know?
I don't think either of them have any interest or in going forward. Here's the thing. I don't think shitting on Jurgen Klinsmann is going to affect them in any way working for U.S. soccer going forward.
100%.
I think they're fine. Like, shitting on Jurgen Klinsmann is okay at U.S. soccer.
Yeah.
Shitting on Berhalter, not so good. They don't like that.
We know from a number of pundits you get blacklisted.
Yes.
So
now, I think the game's totally changed. I think that are there critics of Poch? Casey Keller. Yeah. There's one. There's one critic so far of Poch is Casey Keller.
It's hard for him just to say something nice. He always says something super critical about him.
Oh, he's struggling.
How hard was it to just be overly positive about this last match? We flat out came out and dominated. Now, you can sit there and say, like, for like 10 minutes that second half, where were we at? Well, we were already up 3-0, 4-0 in the aggregate.
I've never seen Casey Keller struggle this hard to say something nice.
Dude,
but, boy, during the Berhalter era, he was rubbing fucking Berhalter's balls left and right, snuggling with them, sucking them, sticking them in his mouth, licking them. What a goddamn weirdo that guy is. What is wrong with Casey Keller?
The funny thing is,
I don't know.
The post game with that show on ESPN, they came out and flat out were like, "All right, we know that Casey's not going to have anything positive to say about."
Yes,
we're gonna start with a person here. I forgot who it was, but it was just funny how they recognize that. Well, Casey's being awfully critical when you don't need to be that critical right now.
He is so butthurt about Berhalter losing his job. It's just on display, basically every show. And that's fine. I guess I didn't know he was that close to Greg, honestly. But I guess they are. And he seems just superbly butthurt. And just is not going to give. And not all of us should be critical of Poch. But the dude's been in control of the team for 4 fucking games. So let's just chill. Let's see.
As people had said, like, you guys need to be as critical against Poch as you were against Berhalter. I'm like, no, when Berhalter was coach, we were critical when it was warranted, and we gave him props when it was warranted.
Yes, we did.
And now Poch is here. He's been here for 2 windows. I absolutely blasted him for that Mexico performance. And people are like, it's its first window. Give him a break. I'm like, that was still a shit performance.
It was shit.
I'm going to be as truthful saying that as I would have if Berhalter played or did that.
Yeah.
So, but now second window comes up and it's a completely night and day performances from the first window. So
yeah, but Casey was just ready to shit on it. Even through this window, he was shitting on it.
He's nitpicking, trying to find anything to bitch about.
And this was a significant step forward, obvious to anybody watching the game with two eyeballs that work. This was a change. This was a step forward. And if you didn't see it, you're either an idiot or you're a fucking Berhalter cocksucker. Either one of the two. So, do with that what you will. But Johnny, for $2, Jurgen broke USA with Beckerman and Zusi's hair.
That's fair. I mean, the woolly mammoth himself, that's a hell of a set of hair there, man.
We always used to say woolly mammoth, if he would have shaved that hair off, he would have been at least a half a mile per hour.
Yeah.
It would have been a half a mile per hour faster. No doubt. He had like 4 pounds of hair. 4 pounds of hair on his head. That's going to weigh you down. There's no way around it.
It's so weird looking at his early years at MLS, like the first year or so, when he didn't have the dreads.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so strange looking at him. Like that is Becker, man. Weird.
Yeah. And then he cut him off more recently too. So
yeah.
Soccer Dad in Cali says for $20, another great show, guys. Any chance of getting Miola on the show sometime? One of my faves. Yes, there is a chance. Of the guys on the regular on that other show, we have had, we've had Jimmy on 3 times. We've had Miola on once and 0 for Davies. 0.
And 0 for Heath too.
0 for Heath, but he's not on the show anymore.
Sure.
But that's on you, Brett. You're the blue check, and you need to reach out to them.
I'll reach out to both Jimmy and I'll reach out to all 3. I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay, do it. Let's get Davies on the show. We got to break that 0 for that show. But I'd love to have Tony on again. He was on in it was a long time ago. It's like 2015.
Probably was it even that late in the stage of the
14,
game?
14.
It was somewhere, man. I mean, you went through and got that clip from reposted. So I don't know. I just felt that must have been like a much earlier show, but who knows?
He's a great guy. I love Tony Miola. He's honest.
Get Keller on the show. I'll get Keller on the show. I have no problem.
I'd love to have Keller on the show. Love. But we don't have as many connections with Keller. We have more connections with the Davies, Jimmy. We'll see how that works out. I would say I'd like to get, out of Seb and Herc, I'd really rather have Seb on the show, honestly. I know that's a funny thing to say, but I love Seb's irascible
it's like the
sensibility.
Banter, like the start of banter.
Oh, he would be an ass about everything. It would be so fun. Because we're asses too. So it'd be like asses versus asses. It would be so fun to have him on the show. So we'll work on Seb. The problem is Seb and Herc's show is on exactly the same time our shows are.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So it would have to be a tape show.
Yep.
That's the only way.
It's weird talking about tape shows in our show. Right?
I've already had discussions with them about getting them on. They're like, okay, let's work out a time. But it's going to have to be taped because it can't be live because we're live at the exact same time. All right. For the 272 of you here now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma, kiss your stepsister. And we love that all of you came out tonight for this show. We do appreciate it. Now we have absolutely truly beat Davies and Miola tonight on the numbers. So no doubt about that. That's not a competition or a dick measuring thing, but it's always fun.
We want to win. We want to win.
We want to win. And we just, it's just one of those things. All right. So, 2 pounds and 49, whatever's free P. Diddy. Free P. Diddy. Is P. Diddy still in jail? Yeah.
He's not a free man walking yet.
All right. Brett, we're going to break this down. I don't think you need to go to anything too fancy here. This is good. This will work. Obviously, we need to move Musa up to right wing, and Robinson need to switch.
Wait, what?
Oh, wait. Oh, we're flipped. Oh, we're totally flipped around from what I thought we were going to get. There we go. Thank God. Yes. My brain works now.
I don't know why it defaults that way. Yeah.
So this is how we started, but how it ended up when we were in offense is that, Tessman moved to where McKennie is. McKennie would move up.
I don't know. It depends on what point of the game it is, you know? Because there are times when McKinney did this. Tessman was here. Jedi was here. And there were times where Jedi was over here.
That's fine. But what it would end up looking like is Tessman and Robinson holding in front of a back three. So let's do that. You got Robinson. You can move. Yeah, there you go. And then Tessman back alongside Robinson. And then McKennie joining the attack. There you go. I mean, that's what it ended up looking like. With Robinson and Tessman holding together, especially when the ball was on the right side. But even then, it didn't matter, right? Because Robinson was on the attack on the left when we had the ball on the left side. And you would see Timothy Weah, Pulisic, and Robinson intermix is playing the left back when need be, right?
Saw that.
They take turns playing left back when Robinson went forward. And I don't know if we saw Tessman that high. Did we?
Yeah, he was right here when he did the dummy for Pulisic to get the own goal.
I mean, the crazy part of this is the bottom line was, the baseline was Ream, McKenzie, McKenzie and Scally held that back three. Everything else was fucking interchangeable. Everything else.
yeah. Outside of Pepi and the back line. Everything else, the entire six here in the middle, were all over the fucking place. I think Musa mainly stayed on the right and Weah mainly stayed on the leftish. Outside their cuts in and stuff.
They cut it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are times where he went here and Pulisic came out here.
Pulisic went left to get the ball, receive the ball, and then work with a triangle between him and Robinson and Weah, right? We saw that constantly. And it was just amazing movement and formational changes. Like all the positional play we saw from Berhalter has been eradicated from this team. Eradicated. And as all the players are saying, he gave us the freedom. And this is not an accident. This happened on purpose. Poch made this happen. He let this happen. And you can say it's only Jamaica if you want. But this is not a shitty Jamaican team. And this is a team we dominated. Whereas not long ago in the late Nations League semifinals or whatever it was, we nearly lost to Jamaica with Berhalter. Right?
Yeah. Mateo mentions how he doesn't know who frustrates him more, Aronson or Scally. I'm kind of I'm curious as to find out what's the beef with Scally.
Well,
Scally, he doesn't generally get up into the attack.
On the two goals, one of them in particular, Scally wasn't there. But it wasn't atrocious. So I'm not throwing that all on Scally. It wasn't all his problem. It isn't all his mistake.
That first goal, the guy came in and nobody tracked back from the midfield.
Yes.
And Scally had the full view of the field. He should have pinched up and picked him up. But I don't know. As a whole, I mean, I think Scally's defensive presence in the back three has been solid.
So the reason that we're going to have two goals like that go in is we start out, and the major formation people put us in is a 4-2-3-1, but it never played like that in the whole game. We played the following two formations: a 3-2 2-1-3-1 and a 3-1-2-3-1. I know that's confusing. I'll say it again.
I'm going to flat out say the amount of movement within those 6 players right there, I would never been able to sit there and say this is the formation we played, because I could never tell what it was.
So at most times at the beginning of the game, when we were like, okay, we don't have a goal yet, we played a 3-2-1-3-1. And we just played rather conservatively. But once we had goals up, we went to a 3-1. So you either have Tessman playing center defensive midfielder or Robinson playing center defensive midfielder by himself.
Yeah.
And then you'd have the 2, which would be McKennie and Tessman pushing up the field with the 3, Weah, Pulisic, and Musa, and then Pepi on top. It was nutso city, but then it would transition back to a 3-2-1-3-1. But the 3-2, the 2 in that 2 would sometimes be Tessman and Robinson would be your 2. It was insane.
Yeah, more often than not, yeah.
And then you would have...
When Tessman did push up, the funny thing is that Jedi covering the center defensive, he had all the range in the world because he's fast as fuck.
So that was when that's when we were 3-1-2-3-1. When we played the 3-2-1-3-1, it was Tessman and Jedi holding with McKennie lurking behind Pulisic and Musa and Weah out wide with Pepi up top. It was just great shit. It was amazing shit to watch. It was a revelation. We haven't seen that kind of Dutch style. Hey, we're all capable. So if I'm moving up, you're going to cover me. And if you're moving up, I'm going to cover you. And we're all going to cover each other. But we're going to be creative. And we're going to do what the flow of the game allows us to do. That's what we need to see more of going forward. And it was a revelation. It was a transformation. It was progress. That's what we need to see going forward. More progress, period, end of story.
So we had talked about, obviously the picture's not going to change too. I could remove, I guess. Let's remove them. No, we'll do this. When Des comes back, this is what we were
yes.
We were talking about. Is Des filling in that role?
Yes.
I mean, obviously the thing's going to show it like this when it first starts, but it's
Right.
never going to play like that.
Right.
God, that'd be a dangerous.
You
lineup.
put Dest in for Musa, you might question Dest's defensiveness compared to Musa. I think they're probably pretty even, but I think Dest is a way better of an offensive threat in the final third than Musa. Then you got Musa on the bench. That's crazy thinking about it. And the crazy thing for me is, Brett, I fucking hate a back 3, but the way this back 3 works, I fucking love it.
Well, and then on the defense, when Jamaica would press back, it would fall back to this.
Yes, exactly.
And then McKinney would come back, and then
right
would come back, but it'd go back to back 4. It was only in the attack that we really saw, that.
And then we were always on the attack in the first half, so that's pretty much what we saw. This for the first half, except Des being Musa. So, and then you kind of ask yourself, well, where does Reina fit in this if he comes back? I'm not sure, because I'm not taking McKennie out. I'm not taking Pulisic out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No spot for him, basically, right now is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, it'd be the Destin Weah role at this point, depending on.
I'm not taking either of those guys out for Reina.
Well, we need Reina to get back to playing first and foremost.
Okay, well, you let me know, and I'll be watching too when Reina crushes balls, and then we'll talk about it. Until then, he's out of this. He's not in this picture. I'm
He
sorry.
does fine crushing balls for the U.S. when he's playing an advanced role. So
I'm sorry, but the way Poach is playing right now, Reyna has no position. Because Pulisic's playing the 10. That's his role. And McKennie's playing the kind of I'll wait and become another 10 role. And I'm not taking McKennie out for Reyna. No, not doing it right now. I need to see Reyna crush balls. I need to see him coming back from injury and crush balls. Kick some ass. Become a starter at Dortmund. Make a statement. Because at this point with Reyna, as big of a fucking cocksucker of his as that I have been supporting him for this long, I can't do it anymore. And his injury is not his fault. I get it. But I cannot continue to cling onto that when we got McKennie playing as good as he is at Juventus and Pulisic playing as good as he is at AC Milan. And those are the kind of slots he needs to be. Unless you want to play him out wide, which I just don't think I'm taking off Weah for Reyna right now. I'm not taking off Dest either. I'd take off Musa maybe, but we're talking about all healthy. I'm not taking off Dest, as long as he comes back to PSV and plays the same kind of way.
Assuming he comes back to the same Dest as we always had. It's a fair argument to have. I mean, a full healthy playing the form that we're in right now. Yeah, I mean, Gio has to go and prove himself at the club level, and he'll get called. I mean, if he's getting playing time, he'll get called in. He'll get called into the national team, and he'll get his minutes. He's sub in at the 65th minute or whatever, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you absolutely make this argument, 100%.
So the other question will be Adams. Has Tessman made a big enough impression on Poach that when Adams is back in this, does he immediately replace Tessman? Because we heard Poach say some things about a player I don't usually see Poach say. He said he was a 9 out of 10 or an 8 out or 9 out of 10. Like, that's a high praise for a manager to give to a player. So Adams is back. You just thrown in Adams instead of Tessman?
Again, if we're looking at March at this point, I don't think Adams immediately jumps into the lineup. I think because he's going to be new to Poach. I mean, Poach knows him obviously from his maybe his time at Leeds, I guess. Maybe he knows enough of him.
Oh, he knows him.
But I'm just saying that he's had 2 windows with Tessman so far. And Tessman, yeah, I could see Tessman starting over Adams. If it were me, I would, and Adams is healthy. I'm playing Adams over Tessman at this point because I think Tessman has made an argument to get that starting role. I'm going based solely off of history more so than anything. But with Poach's stance, I would imagine Tessman probably starts over. Simply because he has a more hands-on understanding of Tessman at this point.
Well, he certainly knows Tessman hands-on better. You're right. So, but the question will be, Adams is the leader of this team. He is the captain.
Really that's a big question.
So that will be up for Poach to make that. That's a huge decision. That's going to be on him. And it'll also be about how he wants to play. So we'll see how that works out.
As somebody mentioned earlier with the Geo talk, it's champagne problems.
Those are champagne problems.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Tessman and some people will say, well, that's the best game Tessman's ever played. True.
It's fair.
But, you can only kind of gauge a guy as far as he's progressing based on the last game you saw him play for you. And if you're a Poach and you're like, that guy went out and played, it did almost exactly what I asked him to do. And he did it well. And you're going to say, oh, it's just Jamaica. No. We almost lost to Jamaica with Berhalter not long ago. So not true. And then the only other player we already talked about is Balogun. Right now, I'm just a Pepi guy.
Yeah.
I'm with Pepi. I think Pepi is a goal scorer. You give him a chance, he scores. And you're not going to get a lot of chances. So
he's taking advantage of his opportunities right now.
Yep.
So that's last window he didn't start initially. but he came in. Actually, he didn't start either game, actually. He came in against Panama and scored his goal off his opportunity. He started this window, scored his goal. I mean, he's absolutely I think at this point, Poach is going to look at it saying, like, again, you're performing for me right now.
Yeah. I like this. Derek likes to party from Isaac Henry.
Huh.
I did, Isaac. Man, I partied a lot.
Oh, the dancing, Derek. Come on.
But I'm old now. Oh, yeah. What is that? Is that how it goes? Yeah. Oh, God, we don't want to get in trouble. But, yeah, I mean, we're just mocking it. But anyhow, yeah, I did like to party, and I partied for almost like 38 years. So,
yeah.
You know, I mean, well, that's when I cut it off. I had kids then, and they were getting older, and I'm like, I really need to stop partying because I'm a fucking drunk, and I need to stop being one. All right, anyhow, we are Michael Bradley.
Bradley walked in this 11. Prime Bradley, absolutely, 100%.
Prime Bradley.
Age Bradley with a busted ankle.
No. MLS Bradley, no. Prime Bradley. Prime. Like,
I would even take Herveen. Herveen, was that who he played initially?
Herveen, and then
I would take that Bradley all the way through Roma, 100%.
Okay, that's fair. No, we could have that argument.
Yeah,
I think the game's changed though.
That's fair.
So, and I think what Poach is asking is, but he could fit in there, I guess. But yeah, I mean, once he come back to MLS, no, thank you. And then, prior to Heerenveen, of course, no, thank you. But then his time at the disbanded Italian team, where he was the field general. Chievo. Yeah, he was great that season.
That was his most. I think it was one of his most dominant time periods.
Bia March is testing me. Fabian Johnson walks into this 11. I mean, kind of maybe. Like top Fabian Johnson, not the one who limped around for like most of his professional fucking career with injuries. Like, go look at his injury record. It's astronomical.
It's a long one.
It's unbelievable. There was like hardly a more injured player than Fabian Johnson. So, like, availability is important. He was available for us, so I'll give him credit for that. So, Derek loves Fabian Johnson. I don't mind him. I have nothing against Fabian Johnson. I just think he's very injured kind of guy.
Yeah.
For 249 says T could also very well switch Dest and Weah. You could put Dest out left. He's played left back for PSV. You could do that.
I'll explain why.
I love Weah on the left.
Weah is the only player on our team willing to shoot the ball.
Yes.
When I say willing to shoot it, I'm not talking about inside the 8 or 6 area. I'm saying 20 yards out, 25, 30 yards out. He gets a half a chance, he's ripping that. And I want him to rip that on his right foot.
Yes.
So he needs to cut in. So I'm saying he has to be on the left. Dest can be on the right because Dest will do all the dribbling through and slot and everything. No, I'd much rather have Way out left.
But you could switch them if you wanted to.
It could work fine, yeah.
To try something, because Dest is very good with both of his feet, frankly. So he's a great shooter with his left or his right. So having him on the right is more natural. Where Weah is much better on his right foot than his left, where there's not much difference on Dest. Dest is like double-footed.
The problem with Weah is that if you put him out right again, he's still gonna burn past defenders, but he's gonna start lacing in crosses again.
Yeah.
So he's not really gonna. I mean, he could kick with his left, but he's not gonna cut into his left as confident as he would on the left hand side. Cut it on his right.
Johnny's bashing my balls. Derek, how does someone injury-prone play 300 Bundesliga games? Listen, I'm just telling you about the end of his career. Go watch it from age 27 and on, 26 and on for Fabian Johnson. It was a disaster. He was injured constantly. Just go to Transfer Market, Go to injury, go to stats, go to injury. You will find it yourself. He's one of the most injured players of all time.
So here's the first. Here's the most recent ones, obviously.
Well,
And,
he's retired, so
I'm in the injury list. These are all of his injuries, Derek.
I know. They're long. They go on. And look how long he was out for some of them. 107 days, 101 days, 103. Come on. Come on, people. Let's stop this shit. All right? That dude had 3 injuries a season. 3, 4, 2. Listen, the last 5 years of his career were a fucking disaster of injuries. I have nothing against Fabian Johnson. He's German. I love Germans. He's just was a wreck. And then he wanted a big payday from MLS, and no one would buy him. And he was shocked by it in the press. Shocked. No, the MLS does not want players who are injured for 107 days out of a year. Just don't. Sorry. Love Fabian. I have nothing personally against Fabian Johnson. I love him. I love Timothy Chandler. I have personal connections with Timothy Chandler, why I would love him. So, anyhow, it is what it is. I think we're done for tonight. Brett?
Yeah.
Thank you for all. There's 269 here now. Yes. But for the almost 300 of you here tonight, I want to say, mwah, we love you. It's great for a Thursday night. And we did have a lot to talk about, and we love your feedback. Continue to do it. I'm not a hater, Larry.
Wasn't Larry. It was BMR.
Oh, BMR, I'm not a hater. I don't hate. I don't hate. I'm not a hater. I don't hate things. I mean, I hate certain things, but those are like Hitler and Stalin. Other than that, and baby murderers and rapists, and those people are the people I reserve my hate for. Other than that, I love all of you, despite the way we might disagree sometimes. That's the great part of this show. We will take your disagreements and we'll talk about them, and we will be nice about it most of the time, 99% of the time. And that's the fun part. And you guys are too. I know you bust our balls in the chat, and we love that. Trust me, we love our balls being busted. It's fun. It is fun as hell. It gives us a laugh. We do. We fucking laugh about that shit when you get us good. So anyhow, we will be back on Monday. Enjoy a weekend of soccer being back in Europe and our players playing again. Track them. We will be. There's a fucking snowstorm going on Thursday Night Football. So watch that after the show is over. And kiss your stepsister, of course. Tell her thank you for watching the show with me. And then go, do whatever you guys got to do in the privacy of your own home. We will be back on Monday. Good night. Have a great weekend.
That hurt.
I'm really proud of the way that the guys just put in the shit.
Hey, what's it like in Brazil right now? Is it warm? Yeah. It's always hot, huh? Yeah.